Hey YouTube, it's David from mdbootstrap.com. So in the previous videos, we learned how to create or set up our environment. So we installed PHP, we created database, we installed WordPress, and we even created our theme starter. And this video it's gonna be a first video from the series of videos where we're gonna learn how to actually create a new WordPress template. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so this is where we ended the previous tutorials. If you haven't seen them, please check our other videos on the YouTube channel or just click in the link which you're gonna find in the description down below. So you're gonna find the link to the previous videos where we're gonna show you, we already showed you how to create WordPress theme starter. So we have two starters here. We have like empty starter, like totally empty, and we have this MDB sample theme, and we're gonna use this one. So it looks like this for now, and this is our source code here, and we're gonna briefly go through these files in a second. But before we do that, as you can see, we are having this this black bar over here. Well, it might be useful sometime, but for now we want to get rid of it because this is gonna interrupt us with our development. So what I'm gonna click on edit profile, and then this will get me to my profile page for the WordPress, and I can untick this show toolbar when we viewing site, and I'm gonna update my profile. So this is gonna make this bar disappear. So now nothing actually interrupt with our page. So this is our starter. Let's have a look at code. Let's see what we got here. So we've got a couple of files over here. So let's start with assets. So this is a place where we store our CSS, JavaScript, and other assets. Obviously, this is not the WordPress requirement, but this is just a good practice to have a folder like this, so you know that it contains all your assets, like images and other libraries. Then we've got this inc, so included file. So this contains functions which are actually loading our assets into WordPress. We'll get back here in a second because this file is connected with our functions PHP. So as you might remember from a previous lesson, this is one of the very basic files. So actually, in order to create a theme as such, we just need an index.php file, which we've got here, and we need style CSS file, which we've got over here. So these are only two required files for you to start. But obviously, if you want to build something more complex than just a static page, you will need more files. So what we have here, except for the assets and ins, so we have functions. So this is the folder where we're gonna write all the this is our theme configuration, I would say. So here we require once this assets PHP file. So we're gonna basically, what we are doing, we are telling PHP to basically open this file, copy everything, and put it here, right? So we keep it to have everything in order. What we could obviously do, we could just get whatever it is here and just paste into functions PHP. But the more you develop your themes, the more you're gonna see that you might easily end up with a very, very, very long and unstructured file with different functions. So here you will have something for configuration, here for post, whatsoever. So you don't want that. You want to split your configuration into separate files, and this clearly explains you or someone else who will be reading your code that in this file, we are working with assets, and what we are doing here, we have two actions. So we are adding two actions. This is how WordPress actually works. So usually you create a function which is doing something, and then you hook it up to some some hooks within WordPress. So when WordPress is being loaded, it basically executes different hooks, and you can in certain order obviously, and then you can hook up your function to the certain step. So either you want to run your function at the beginning or at the end. So depending on that, you will hook up to the different hook and you're gonna add different action. So what we are doing here, look, we are just basically saying that we want to run this function, which we call load enqueue scripts, on this hook. So WP enqueue scripts. So this is basically, this is the hook. This is the moment when WordPress is loading or other assets, and we want to hook up to this one, and we want to run this function, and we'll be using two functions here. So we are using WP register script. So we are registering script in WordPress. So WordPress knew where the file lays, where to load it, and then we are actually enqueuing the script here. So as you can see, this uses the same name over here. So we have a name of the file. Now, obviously, this is like a nickname, right? So we could have, for example, like I don't know, jQuery 4.3, jQuery 4.5, and so on and so on. And here is the location, and this location consists of two parameters. So actually, this is one string, but basically, this get template directory URI, this returns our root folder location, right? So when you deploy your WordPress theme into the web, then it's laying under some folder. In my case, this is something like C, XAMPP, htdocs, WordPress, WP content, themes, MDB, and so on and so on. So this will basically add this path, and then on top of that, we're gonna add this assets.js MDB mean. And if you check now in the inspector, let's go to network tab, let's refresh, and let's search for JS, and we have this MDB mean over here. Let's open this one in a new tab. So you're gonna see that this is actually the path, right? So we have a local host WordPress, and then WP content, themes, MDB sample, and so on. So we don't need to know this path, that path. This function is basically doing this on our behalf, so we don't need to really know that. And even if we change the folder whatsoever, it will always basically route us to this directory, and then from then we are telling that our MDB mean.js is under assets.js MDB mean.js. So this is how we load JavaScript. This is how we load CSS, MDB CSS. So that way we just loaded CSS and JavaScript for our page. So now we can use MDB to create our theme. Okay, so this is the configuration part. I mean, this is for the theme configuration. And what we have here as well, we have screenshot. So this screenshot is actually used as a thumbnail in. Let me find this here. If we go to themes, so as you can see, this theme has this thumbnail over here. So this is kind of a preview of your theme. Usually you want to add it if you want to sell your theme, then you want to do something like this to give your user some kind of preview and to help them easily find theme. As you can see, if you have more, then you can find which one is which. This empty starter, which has only index and style CSS, which we've done in the previous video, doesn't have a thumbnail, so that's why it's difficult, because if you have more like this, you don't know which one is which. Nothing really complex over here. So this is just the thumbnail. If you call it screenshot PNG, it will basically work. Then we have an index.php, so kind of the most important file within our WordPress theme. And except for this piece of HTML, what we have here, we have get header and get footer functions. What this function does, it's actually loading header PHP file. So this is header PHP file and footer PHP file. So we have this one. So basically we are, again, getting content of header and putting this here, and getting content of footer and putting this down here. And this is obviously a good way to maintain your code, because otherwise, let's imagine, let's just think of a simple blog for a second, right? So in a simple blog, you're gonna have a main page, so you're gonna have like your home page, then you have a post page. So like when you display a single post and you want to read it, you will have a single page. You might want to have some category page, which will be basically listing all the posts from different or some particular category. You may want to have some archive, so some, you know, page which will show all the posts from 2019, let's say. So we already have like 4 pages, right? And if we if you're not gonna use these functions like get header or get footer, what you have to do, you end up with like the 4 files, which every single one of them will have the same code, copy paste, so basically duplicated. And as you know, the first rule of programming say dry, do not repeat yourself. Try to reuse the code as much as possible. So instead of having like 4 times header and footer in different files, we're gonna have just 1 header, 1 footer, and every time we want to create a new page, we can just use get header, get footer, and just focus on the content. So this is header, this is footer. Now you also might see that we have this function here. So this is like WP head. We're not gonna talk much about that. This is loading some internal WordPress stuff. So let me just quickly show you that. Let's open this one up. And let's have a look at page source. So this is ours viewport, and this is ours head. Whatever is in between, this is added by WordPress. So what we have here, this is viewport and this is head. So this is what is in between. It's been added by WordPress. So we are not gonna go much into that. Let's just keep it simple as for now. And then the same applies for footer. So we have this WP footer. As you can see, there is nothing like including CSS or JS here, and WordPress is doing this for us. So this is here, right? So although we can't see this here, so this footer is actually loading us this JavaScript. And as you remember, we did it over here, right? So we told to load this mdb min.js in this function, and this is what it does for us. Okay, that's theory, that's review of what the starting point is. If you have any question, please do not hesitate to ask them in our Facebook group or in the comments down below. I will be happy to answer them, but I'm just hoping that for now we are clear that this is like a very basic and I hope simple setup where we just have 3 files for our home page. So we have index, header, and footer, and we have this functions PHP and assets PHP as a configuration files. Now, what you usually do, or you can do, is that if you want to write custom styles for your new theme, and obviously you will sooner or later you're gonna write some custom styles, you have this file over here, which is mandatory anyway, so you can write your styles over here. But if you want to actually include them into page, you will have to load them the same way as we are now loading MDB over here, right? So you would have to do something like this. So let's just let me duplicate this one and let's call it, let's say custom JS. Let's do custom, or you can call it whatever it is. And this file is, or actually, you know what? I'm doing this for JavaScript, right? Obviously, this is wrong. I want this one. So let's call it here. And let's use it here. So we have the style CSS, and let's add something here. I don't know, let's do body, background color black, just for the sake of test. And now, as you can see, this file has been loaded here, CSS. So we have this style CSS here. and it's working fine. And again, as you can see, this name is just like a working name. And why do you need this one is because this function allows you to provide the order, right? So sometimes you want to load a CSS in a certain order, right? So you want to load, I don't know, Bootstrap, and then you want to load some other library, and then on top of that, we would like to load your own custom styles. So you can use it. You can specify like the order, right? That load this one after that one, and you are doing this by passing another parameter to the function here. We're not gonna do it here. We don't need it. Actually, we don't even don't need the styles, but let's keep it because I'm gonna give you the source code at the end of this lesson. So it's actually already available for you down below. So I'm just gonna keep it just for you as a reference if you would like to use it in the future. If you want to learn more about it, obviously copy the function name and go to developer.wordpress.org, where you're gonna find more on that. And you have these parameters here, right? So you have you can define versioning, so you can have different versioning dependencies. You can even define a different media usage for this one. Okay, now let's start actually developing our theme. But before we do that, let's also do one more stuff, because usually when we work with an MDB, what we do, we are using font awesome. So let me add this font awesome here, and I have URL somewhere over here. So let me. Yeah, okay, so this font awesome, we can add CSS. Yeah, and now basically we loaded all assets which we gonna need. Okay, now I'm gonna show you two approaches in this video, how to build a theme. So the very first approach will be where you are actually, kind of doing both. Designing your blog and doing the WordPress logic at the same time. So that's the one approach. And the second approach is when you first build your theme, or you have already some template which you already did, or you got it from somewhere, and you want to kind of switch it or rewrite it to make it compatible with a WordPress, to make it working as a WordPress theme. So let's start with the first approach. I'm gonna build this this index page, so the home page, from scratch for you, and you're gonna do it with me. So I'm gonna go to mdbootstrap.com, go to mdb5, and let's start with some navbar. So I want to have some navbar on the top of my page. So let's go to navbars. And we have it here, and let's use some I want to have like a very basic example, like this one looks nice. So I'm gonna just copy this code, and I'm gonna get rid of this one. Let me see, it doesn't have header, so I'm gonna do something like this, header, and I'm gonna paste it. Okay, and now let's refresh the page. Oh, by the way, we don't want this black background color, so let me remove this one. Let's refresh. Okay, so we have it here. Now I don't want this one to take the full width, so as you hopefully know Bootstrap, I'm just gonna get rid of this fluid, so I'm gonna leave container. If you don't know Bootstrap, by the way, please do check our tutorial on Bootstrap, which you're gonna find on our channel, because we will be using some of the Bootstrap features here. So if you don't understand what's going on, probably it's better for you just to first get familiar with Bootstrap. Otherwise it might be confusing, but still it's not as difficult, so you should be able to follow even if you are not familiar with it. So it's up to you. Okay, now I don't want to get this this background light. yeah, I wanted to keep it white, so now I just get rid of this background. Let me remove this one as well. Now what I want to also do, I want to add some icons over here. So if you go through different examples here, you're gonna see that there are like different options. So you can have a search query, you can have a search query on the right, and so on and so on. So for example, I like to have this logo over here. So I'm gonna get this brand. I'm gonna copy just the brand part. So just starting from nav brand, and I will replace the current nav brand here. Paste it. Refresh. Okay, we've got it here. It's a little bit too big, so let's make it smaller. Yeah, let's leave it like this. Now we have some disabled link here. I don't want this one. Let me get rid of this, and let me do change something like, I don't know, let's assume I'm building my programming block, so I will have like I don't know, programming and then some technical category or databases, let's say databases, and you can have more obviously, and I can have some page about me. Yeah, every page needs about me page. So now we have navbar here, and let's add some icons to the right side. So I will check for icons, and I'm gonna copy this. So this is the example. You can have a you can check how does it work, and I want to copy this part from UL, and I'm gonna paste it here. So this is that one. Let's see. Yeah, but I want to have this one actually outside the div. And now it should go to the right. Yes, this is because this navbar it's flex. So this is the navbar. This is how by default it plays the all the elements. So yeah, we have another tutorial just on navbars. If you don't know why it moved to right, please check this video. I don't want to spend much more time on it. I just want to show you that you can easily place and create whatever drop down you like, even like a Facebook style over here, right? So it's totally possible. Okay, I'm gonna get rid of this drop down. I don't want this one. I need a new drop down, so I will get rid of this one. And actually, you know what? I have shopping cart here. We don't gonna have shop in this video, so I'm gonna leave just Twitter, and I'm gonna multiply it, copy paste, or actually duplicate, and let's do Facebook, and let's do Instagram. I don't even know. I mean, I'm sure that those icons does exist. I'm not sure whether this is the correct name. Let's figure it out. Yeah, they are working fine. So you can connect your social profiles over here. Okay, so we have our header. So let's move till the end. So let's move to the footer. Let's jump to footer, and then we'll focus on the main part. So let's go to footers, and let's choose one. I mean, let's use any. That can be this one. You can have more advanced, or I don't know. If you're a photographer, maybe this one, perhaps something like this will work for you. Oh, this is nice. Icons. Just use this one. So yeah, let's paste it over here. So we have a header and footer, and now let's add something in between. So what I would like to do, I would like to have some intro. So we'll have intro. It's called headers. And yeah, you can have different options here. Let's use this one. This one already has navbar, right? So we don't need navbar. So what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna copy, I'm gonna skip this navbar part from here, and I'm gonna get just this background image and paste it into our header. So this is here, this is underneath, and this is working fine. And I want to get rid of this call to action. I don't want this one. I want to say welcome and my blog. Programming is poetry, as one of our employees used to say. So this is our heading. Subheading, obviously we can adjust the image later on. Okay, now what I want to do now, so this is the first way of making pages, right? And it's something which I already told you before. So we are kind of playing around and kind of filming this. So now I want to show you the other option. So the other option is that you already have some template built or bought or whatsoever, and you want to change it to WordPress theme. So if we go to MDB and go to MDB5, get started, and then find something like starter templates. So these are free templates, starters, which you can use totally for free. So someone made it for you and you can just grab them. So you can choose whichever you like. So let's just quickly go through. You can choose to have whatever layout you like, right? So we could have this 3-column layout with kind of cards, if you like, something more like magazine style, because obviously you can use WordPress not only to create blogs, right? You can create magazines, you can create blogs, you can also create e-commerce, and we're gonna have tutorials on all of that, even coming soon, right? So choose whatever you want, whatever you like, and just grab it. Let me see, I've kind of like this one. So this is kind of typical blog style. So you have some posts here. We're gonna adjust them a little bit, and we have a sidebar on the right. So sidebar is a place where you usually keep some extra data, so you can kind of encourage people to, I don't know, subscribe to your newsletter or whatsoever. And you can see this sidebar is scrollable, so it's going down along the content. So I like it. Let's grab this one. Then again, we already have our header, navbar, and so on. So I don't need navbars. So I'm just gonna copy. We already have a Jumbotron. We don't want that one. So let me just get the main layout out of it. I'm gonna copy paste. Obviously, what we could have done, instead of building this intro here, we could just copy paste this one, reuse it. I just wanted to show you how to build it from scratch. Maybe not from scratch, but build it based on predefined components. So now I'm getting this main part over here. And let's have a look. Yeah, so this is the template which we have, right? So we have our HTML template, and this is looking nice. So now we will be changing this into a proper theme. So this is our homepage. So what we want here, we want to have this post listed. So every time we add a new post to our WordPress, we want WordPress to display this one on top of this list. So what we have to obviously do is first you need to add some post. I already did it, so I have 4 posts over here. If you want, you can just pause the video here and just create some posts. They are like dummy posts, right? So I have some text over here, and if you already added your post, now we need to start working on our picture or our image. As you can see, our theme has these images over here, and WordPress also do support like images, like thumbnails, like they call it feature image. So with every post, there is an image associated. There can be an image associated with it. Now, but the thing is that although this is built into WordPress functionality, it doesn't work out of the box. This is up to theme whether it's supporting images or not. So in order to add support for images, because usually you would see here feature image option here where you can add your image. We don't see it now, and this is because we don't have this option. So let's add it now. So this is called, oops, not this one. So this is called post thumbnail theme support. So then again, if you want to learn more, just go and search for this add theme support, and you're gonna find what else you can add. Right, so there are a lot of options here. You can add different menus, post formats, and so on, widgets, and we will be going through some of them in the next tutorials. But for now, we are working on that with a feature image. Or actually, this is something called post thumbnail, right? And this is something which I already told you. Since we don't have more on the theme setup, I'm just gonna keep it here because this is the only function. But if we add more setup functions which are related to our theme setup, I would create a new file and put it there, and then require once at the beginning here. So ideally this function PHP could consist only on this require once and different files. Now I'm saving and see what's gonna happen. I'm gonna refresh the page and look at this part of the site. So when I refresh, boom, we have a feature image. Oh, it's not that kind of magic that it's also actually adding an image. It just added this feature image option. So let me create a new post for you. Oh, no, this is not here. On posts, add new. So this is how it usually looks like. So you can set feature image, and then you can drag and drop your files here. Since I created this post before and I already added also images, that's why you can see already images over here. So we have text and we have images. Obviously there are more, there are categories and tags, so we will get there. But for now, let's just focus on the text and the image. Okay, so now how to get WordPress to display as this this post. So there is something called a post loop in WordPress. So basically, yeah, well, every time you want to display something in WordPress, you would have to loop through all the posts, and you can loop through them in a different way. So let's just get back, do us one step back. Basically, the basic entity within a WordPress is either a post or a page, right? So we have pages and pages and post. If you search for loop post, so it's called the loop, and this is like the main loop which we're gonna use. So I'm gonna copy this one. So this is very basic loop. So yeah, let me copy paste this one, and you will see how does it work with your own eyes. So what I'm gonna do now, we don't need this hard-coded post, right? So what we have here, I'm going back to the template. So this is the left column, so this one, and this is the right column, right? We don't care about the right one. It's hard-coded for now. It's perfectly fine. So let's just focus on this one, left one. And here we have a couple of posts. 1, 2, 3, and a 4. Now, I don't need 4 of them. I'm going to remove 3 of them. I'm going to leave the last one as a reference because I would like to reuse this HTML code. But on top of that, I'm just gonna paste my loop function. Okay, so this is this main loop, and here we have 2 main things. So we have condition if have posts. So if there are any posts, then we will get into while, and while we have post available, we'll do something. Obviously, you can have else over here, right? So you can have something like if there are no posts, let's say something like there are no posts available, please create one first, or something like that, right? So that should be working. So if you don't have posts, you should see something like this. Otherwise, you don't see anything because we don't have nothing here yet except for the comments. Okay. Now let me create a variable, let's call it counter, and let's set it to 0. Now, if we have any posts, let's do something like this, counter plus plus. So we starting from 0, so we have counter 1, and then let's do echo, oh come on, counter. So this should show me now 1, 2, 3, 4. This is exactly as many as many posts I have here. So I have 4 posts. So as you can see, this loop has been executed 4 times. So now what I can do, I can grab this my HTML template, cut it, and paste it over here. So let me paste it here. Now obviously now I have mixed up HTML and PHP. So what I have to do, I have to close my PHP here, then I have my HTML, and then open PHP again over here. Okay, so what's gonna happen now is that I should see like 4 times this template, right? 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, the post function it's setting context for WordPress. So now when we use the post, it's kind of assigning the current post to the scope of this iteration, right? So what it does, what does it allows us to do is that now we can use functions which are predefined, WordPress predefined functions, which allows us to do, for example, something like this. So we have this title here, and instead of hard-coded, we can use a WordPress function called the title. And if we check our preview, you're gonna see that now WordPress is dynamically replacing this title with the actual post title. So this is what's going on now. So as you can already imagine, the only thing we have to do now is we have to replace all these parameters here. So we need to get to the image, we need to get to the content, or actually excerpt for the post. We need to get link for the post, because obviously each post has its own link, if you can see this. So here in the left bottom part, you can see the preview. If I open it, it's not gonna work, obviously, because we didn't code it yet, but yeah, we'll get there in a second. So now what else we have to do? We have to replace this image and get it dynamically. So I'm gonna replace it with this function, which I already have here. So this is the post thumbnail. Then you define thumbnail size. You could have, for example, full. So then, you know, if you upload like 4K picture, it will basically get the biggest one, but usually you don't want to do that. You want to have a different thumbnail size. So, you know, when you have your page, you already know that, for example, on the home page, in this main part, you could use like the full size of your image because it's taking the full width, and for this you could use just the smaller one because there is no point in loading such a huge file. Okay, what is important here is that you can add your own classes. So if you want your image to have some classes, you can just pass it as an argument here, array image fluid, to add to this array classes, and that's it. Okay, let's move on. So now we have the content. That's fairly simple because we're gonna just replace it with the content, or actually not even a content, but something called the excerpt. So this function will basically returns us some few words You can configure how many words you want to show, but basically if this is shorter than X, it will show the entire text here, and if it's longer, then it will basically cut, and it will just encourage user to click and read the full post, right? Okay, so we have title, we have thumbnail, we have content. So the last thing which remains here is to work on the link. So we want to figure out what the link for this post is. So how we're gonna do that? We're gonna use another function from WordPress. So let me add this link over here. Let me move it around the button, and this function is called get permalink. And as you can see, I'm echoing this, so you have to echo this, and this will basically give us the address to post. You can see that they are changing, right? It's post 2, post 3, post 4. You can see the address over here, 2, 3, 4. And if I open it, that's gonna be interesting, because you see something. WordPress is trying to show us this single post, but it doesn't work. Not perfectly, at least. I'm gonna explain it why it's happening in a second, but let's just finish this one. So we have everything here. Let me just do small enhancement. So I want this button to float and so to the right, and let's add some margin. Margin is 5, and I want to set read more, let's say. Okay, this is working fine. It will be nice to be able to click on this one. So let me copy this and paste it here. Here is our placeholder for Anchor. Now I have link here, and finally we don't need this counter anymore. So let's get rid of this one. And voila, our index, our homepage is ready. So that's it for this tutorial today. I just want to cover two more stuff actually before we finish it. So let's have a look at this this image, which comes from WordPress. This is called template hierarchy chart. So it's showing you the template hierarchy. So long story short, you can have a different file for different page you would like to display on your WordPress site. So you can have a post page, you can have an archive page, you can have a category page, you can have whatever page. You can have even 404 page different, search result different, and so on, right? So you may want to have separate file for each of those. So you want to display them in a different way, right? So if you want to display search result in different manner, maybe some table, or then you want to have archive. So if someone click on show me all posts from the last December, you want to show it in a different way. And sometimes not. Sometimes you don't want to have specific page. So what's happening here is that every time when you open some page, WordPress will try to match most specific template possible. So it will go through all of these possibilities here, and if it's not finding, it's falling back. So if it doesn't find this one, it's falling back, trying to find this one, falling back, and so on and so on. And if it doesn't find anything, it will just fall back to the index.php. And this is what's happening right now, right? Because we just have index.php. When I click on it, it's falling back to this file. Again, it's smart enough to show just this post, but it's just using the same code, so it cannot show the entire content because we told him to show the excerpt and not the content. So let's have a look at this quick example. If I'm gonna create a new file and I'm gonna call it single.php, let's see what's gonna happen. I'm refreshing the same page right now, and we got the blank. Why? Because it found this template file. It's empty, so it's blank, but it found this single page, so it's not falling back further, right? So now it's trying to display this single post using whatever code it found over here. So before we finish it, I want to show you a quick hack. So I'm gonna remove this file, single PHP. This is something which we're gonna learn in the next tutorial. In the next video, we're gonna work on the single PHP to show our page, our single post in a different way than our home page. But I want to show you a quick trick, because sometimes it may happen to you that you will be building some pages which doesn't require all these templates, that you can actually get all these conditions into the index PHP. You are building some sample landing page for whatever company, and it might be enough to have just the landing page and maybe 2 or 3 posts, and then you don't need to create a separate files for that. So just to show you how it works, let's do something over here. We're gonna use another function, another WordPress function, which is called isHome. So I'm gonna do if isHome, then show the excerpt, else show the entire content. Okay, so I'm gonna refresh now. I have some syntax error. So if is home, oh, I'm missing semicolons. Obviously now we need them. So now voila, as you can see, since we are not on the home page, but here we are displaying the content, and if we get back to home page, we will be displaying the excerpt, right? And now you can apply all of this to different places. So you can add this condition here to hide this pagination. You can apply, you may want to show this image like larger in a different place, or maybe you want to show this image here. So then you could add this condition over here, right? If homepage, then something like this. So yeah, you can hack your page, and you can use index PHP for both or even more purposes. You could use index PHP for everything, but obviously in the long term, if you have more condition, it's gonna be crappy file. So what we can do here, we can do this nice trick. I'm gonna add negation over here, and thanks to that I can do something like this. I'm gonna extend this else here to not only the excerpt but also to this button. So this will also hide now this button here. So I just switch condition, and now it's not showing this button. You know what's going on, right? So we have now one index file which is working for both. WordPress makes it possible. If we click on the post, it's not showing other posts, so it stopped looping, right? So it's not showing other posts. So we actually already have our blog, right? It's working. Obviously we're gonna add more, we're gonna add comments, we're gonna add pagination. That's all about what you're gonna learn in the next tutorial. So yeah, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do smash the like button. It's gonna help us a lot. It means a lot to us. Subscribe to our channel. If you don't want to miss more tutorials like this one, don't forget to subscribe and turn notification on. If you have any questions, do not hesitate to ask them either down below this video in the comments, or what is even better, join our Facebook group where you're gonna find thousands of different developers and our team who will definitely help you with your issues. Okay, so without further ado, let's finish here and jump directly into next tutorial when we're gonna learn about a single page post. Thank you for watching and keep coding.